Okay, so I'd like to call the Wage and Personnel meeting for Monday, October 20th, 6 p.m. to order. Just a couple of announcements. This meeting is being recorded by Zoom. Anyone intending to make an audio video recording of this meeting should notify the chair at this time. Items may be taken out of order at the discretion of the chair. Lorraine Biggio is not in attendance this evening. It's Derek and myself. We do have a quorum, so we will move forward. First item is Tina, Human Resources Director, and Joyce, the health agent, to discuss the salary of the new public health nurse hire above step 3 of grade 6 at step 7, 34.10 hourly rate. Tina, I will let you make your opening.
Sure. So, over the last 2 or 3 years, we've come to you a couple of times as we have filled this position. Again, this position is a less than part-time position. It's not benefits eligible. When we did the compensation study that took effect for fiscal 24, this position was put into a grade as opposed to just the hourly schedule. It was put into the grade because it was expected that it would be brought up to a benefits eligible position. That hasn't happened. But as it stands today, the position is still a grade position. And so we've come to you a few times over the years when we've set out to hire, needing to hire above step 3. And in this case, we're looking to hire at step 7. In the recent past, we've come to you to hire at step 10. Joyce will talk about the candidate, keeping the name confidential. And then, but in general, just to recap, compensation in general. So when we did the compensation study, we put like positions in the same grade, and the way that compensation is set is you take each of those positions compensation rate based on our like towns, and then it gets averaged in to make the 10 steps. So it's not as if we're saying, we're not saying the public health nurse is a grade 6 and that's the only position in that grade, and this is the salary range for that, only that position. It's a accumulation of all the different positions that are in that grade, and that's perfectly valid to have a comp plan done that way.
Sure.
So Joyce will talk about the candidate and why they are a person that we want to hire at this higher than step 3. When I brought this up last meeting, there was questions about why the town isn't using the grant nurse instead of hiring our own, and Joyce will talk about that as well.
Okay. Before we talk about the candidate, I want to talk about a little bit, because we have dealt with this a few times. Yep. It's your time, our time, so forth. So the question I have is, what are we doing wrong that we have to keep coming back to this?
I don't know if it's necessarily that we're doing anything wrong. I think,
or has the market changed?
So I don't think people are leaving us necessarily to get money elsewhere. I think people are leaving us because the type of applicant that is taking this position is either, again, it's less than part-time, it's not benefits eligible. You have candidates that are either, this is their second act after retirement, or it's, their personal life allows them to only have to work this amount. And then, it's usually their personal life that dictates to say, you know what, I can go back to full time, or I just want to be retired, or, I thought this type of gig is what I wanted, and I really miss patient contact. I think it's any of those types of things. Your thoughts, Joyce?
Well, as part of the grant, I should let you know, we have now been trying to hire 2 full-time nurses for over a year. And we haven't found one yet.
Okay, when you talk about the grant, are you talking about the
excellence grant, the shared services that you guys are asking why I can't use that nurse? We don't.
The South Plymouth County Public Health Excellence Collaborative Intermunicipal Agreement,
Can we make
Public Health
name?
Excellence, a shared service agreement that we signed in 2022.
Yes.
Okay.
Couldn't get any more verbiage in there.
Well, I have it all right here
God
from
bless
the
you.
Duxbury Selectmen minutes. and I had questions about
Yeah,
it.
so I want to
So-
read to you, so we get handed something as numbers, and so supplanting is what it's referred to. I am not allowed to supplant, any staff person or budget item that I already have existing. I can't just use the grant and say, well, I'm not gonna fill my nurse's position, I'll just use the grant. What I am allowed to do is if my nurse's position says that she will monitor Maven, which is required by the state, and she's going to perform blood pressure clinics, then if I have a need for educational pieces or a home visit that maybe isn't, for whatever reason, I can't use mine, then I could use some of those aspects of that grant nurse to cover that. But as it stands, we can't find nurses. Part of this, unfortunately, is the salary range. Right now, I have people that are, they'll come in, they'll talk to us, we tell them what and it's posted, it's not like they don't know. But when I explain to them that this is the parameters that I'm allowed to operate in, and this is what it is. People just, they're not interested. Out of the two people, I had two great candidates this time. And the person that I chose, has wonderful experience. I don't want to say too much about their experience because it would also, I think,
Understood.
indicate where they work, and it's,
It's okay.
local.
Yeah.
But person has wonderful experience, a good history. And the person is local and is really excited that this is a 15-hour-a-week job, because the other piece of nursing that this person does, it works. And
Gotcha.
so it wouldn't interfere with what I need, because I said, this is priority, like I told them it's gonna be a flexible schedule with everything, with both parties. And the reason that I chose this person over the other person is the second person, who is lovely and great qualities, super experienced, but they are also finishing up a master's degree in public health nursing. And I said to them, I'm like, that's wonderful and I'm happy for you, but in 6 months,
You're gonna be.
this is not going to be the job for you,
Right.
because you are now above what this job requires, and I can't pay you that salary. And so you would be better off, and I actually pointed them to the grant, because that would be a more appropriate, because it's a full-time job and it would utilize her skill set and the pay is better. And so
So-
that's, this is the conundrum I'm in.
No, and again, I'm not against
Yeah,
what, we've talked about this before.
Yeah.
I think Tina knows my position. I'm not against what we gotta pay.
yeah.
Matter of fact, I have questions about
Why?
what's on here
Oh,
that I question. I don't think the math's right. Let's start there. I don't think.
you mean the assessment, how the rate?
The amount that you're gonna pay them did not, how many hours do you took step 6, which is like 70,000 and change. Step 7, how many hours a year do you divide that by? 1820? 35 times 52?
Yeah, 1820.
Okay.
Yep.
When I did that, it comes to 3897 based on the bylaw.
So you're right, and I misspoke. So, okay, so we've talked before about.
Yeah, so well, that's why before we get into the applicant, I wanted to talk about the whole framework.
And actually, this is a piece I have to also bring up for another reason, but, anyway, so, when we did the compensation study,
Right,
the dollar amounts were based on the surrounding towns giving us their comparables at 40 hours a week. So our salaries for a salaried position, an exempt position, whether you're working 35 hours a week or 40 hours a week, you just get the salary. It's an annual salary, right? Now, KTU, the contracts there, because they're all hourly positions. And now that everyone's on the same grade path, we have the 15 grades across the town. To come up with the hourly rates for any of the positions that get paid hourly, because technically this RN is not salaried, just given the nature of the hours, but also they're not working enough to become salaried. We take the annual salary and we divide it by the 2080. And then, so if you look in the KTU column.
40 times
40
20,
times 20,
52, that's 2109.
It's always been 20.
Maybe I'm wrong. I did it today.
Mhm.
So I was looking at it because I was trying to make the math work.
So 40 times 52, 2080.
I think it's 2109. Oh, oh, I know how I did it. I took the, I wasn't sure how you were doing it, so I took the 70,932, step 7, grade
Yeah, yeah.
6, and divided it by the 3410. And that meant that they would have to work 2109 hours,
Gotcha.
because I was trying to get to the math.
Sure.
Okay, and the way, when I did the math, I came to 3897
Mhm.
based on our typical 35 hours, 1,800 and change.
Right.
So I was trying to understand the discrepancy.
So you raise a good point for another topic that I will
Okay.
bring up. But anyway, so when I have to figure out an hourly rate,
Yep,
understanding that everything is really based off of a 40-hour salaried week. And in the KTEU contracts, because there are no salaried employees, all of their grades are broken out into the 10 steps as hourly rates at a 40-hour a week. So if my comparable, if I were to be exempt, is $100,000, I don't know the math, but if it's $100,000, you divide that by 2080.
Mhm.
That becomes my hourly rate.
right,
Okay. Now I'm in KTU, and in KTU, you could be working 35 hours a week, or you could be working 40 hours a week. Laborers tend to work 40. Clerical tends to work 35. There's a handful of clerical that work 40. So now you're supposed to take that hourly rate. And if I'm a 35-hour employee, I multiply it by 35 hours a week. And that's how I come up with how much I'm going to make for the year. Oh, yeah. It wasn't always like that. It wasn't always like that. So in any event, so.
because I'm gonna throw one more
Sure,
curve
we
at you,
just
so
written
I'll
out
wait.
That hourly schedule, which is one of the things I think we need to add for fiscal 27. So when I have employees or department heads that come to me to say, okay, this position isn't exempt, how much are they gonna make? I do the same thing, but I actually just go to the KTU contract because all the compensation is the same now across the town, right? So I go to KTU contract and I said, oh, grade 6, step 7, that equals XYZ dollars an hour, which is based on 40 hours a week. This particular position won't work that, but that's what it's based off of. So we would just multiply it by however many hours they're scheduled to work.
Okay, so given that fact that it's a lower rate than, my understanding was we took the 70,000 and change and divided it by 35. That's how I came to 3897 an hour.
Mhm.
And then I looked up and again, before we get to the applicant, I just wanted to go through the systemic issue
Sure.
before we do the direct issue.
Yeah.
The average pay for this position in this area is between $41 and $46 an hour,
Just the nurse,
but just the public health nurse.
right?
Okay, so again, I'm not advocating we spend more. I'm just advocating, is that the reason, one of the reasons why we're not? And if it isn't, how can we address it?
So one of the things Joyce and I talked about today, because I gave her the little history lesson as well, is, do we need to not have the public health nurse in a graded position anymore and have it go back to just being the hourly schedule? Because we're not going to hire a benefits eligible regular nurse. So in that instance, that would turn into similar to like when the fire chief comes in to say this is what call firefighters are getting, or when rec comes in and says this is what a lifeguard's getting, or whatever the case may be, out in the real world or out in a comparable world. And so if we were to do that, again, it can't take effect until fiscal 27, but if we were to do that, then yeah, we could set the rate at that $40 or $45, whatever it is, and it gets the increase, you know, as needed. So would it make us more competitive? Probably. You know,
The point I'm trying to make is this is a fair amount of your time, which is money. This is a fair amount of our time, and this is probably the fourth time I've seen this in less than 2 years.
Mhm.
So let's try to solve the problem. And that's why I looked at the grant or the collaborative agreement, and it does allow you to use a nurse from another town.
Right.
Okay, but the question is, so then I looked around at the other town. Duxbury's looking for a full.
Everybody is.
Okay, Plymouth has a full-time nurse. Plimpton uses the
Mhm. They
agreement,
don't even have it in their budget.
but they use this,
Yeah.
whatever this is. Carver uses the woman who is the representative for you for Southeastern Massachusetts, Alicia. What's her name?
Oh, yeah,
Alicia Kaiser.
but they hire her outright. It's not through, it's not through the grant.
So she's
She
an
works-
employee for the town of Carver.
Yeah, she works
Okay.
for the town of.
And the town of Wareham has a full-time
Right.
nurse.
so sorry, the town of Plymouth is who owns that grant now. So all of those employees are town of Plymouth employees. So when I'm not
But
sure.
Alicia doesn't work for the town of Plymouth. She's like, she works for the grant. She somehow is.
She's a coordinator for all the towns in the southeast region.
Yeah.
That's one job. And then her other job is she's the public health nurse in Carver.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So the question, but again, I'm trying to systemic, not individual. So would we be able to hold on to a nurse if it was full-time, if that nurse was here and in Duxbury?
It's,
You're allowed to do it.
right, no, I understand that. Here's the,
Would we be able to attract a bigger audience with a full-time job than a part-time job?
I honestly don't believe that to be the case, because like I said, we've been trying to hire 2 full-time positions now for the grant at a very reasonable salary, and we're getting nothing, or we're getting inappropriate or not qualified
What's the salary?
candidates. I believe they're at 85 now.
And you're still not getting people.
$85.
No, 85,000.
1,000, and because this would be, if we did this at 70,000.
Yeah,
We're still
and
not
it's not, and
Okay, and
and the
again-
other thing is, when you're sharing, it's been my experience with the grant, it can be challenging to have,
Hard for
Trying
people to
to-
work for 2 bosses.
yeah, and I'm trying to choose my words carefully as to not offend, but yeah, it can be hard to work for 2 bosses, and it can be hard to allocate, bless you, time equally.
Yep.
And so I run my department like a business. It's a business. I have a pot of money, and I need to make it work as best as I can with what I have. And I would rather have a 15-hour-a-week nurse that knows exactly what my expectation is, that does what this town needs, and this town is that priority, not this town and another town, or maybe this job. Like, I want it to be that
And I
Kingston is important. and
right,
that
right,
we
I
should-
totally respect that. But I also, this is also your time that
Oh,
we're taking to
believe me,
do
this
this.
is exhausting.
Right,
Me.
and so all I'm trying to do is just ask questions. Is there a better way? You know, we've had the same problem with the veterans agents. We've
Oh,
had the
God.
same problem with building inspectors.
Yeah,
So,
I know.
you know, but there are mechanisms. So I'm only asking, have we explored it? Or do we just don't want to do it? And, but then that's still not going to solve our problem of turning people over every 6 months. And so,
And given that Duxbury, I believe, just did some cuts, I'm not certain they would be having a great pot of money to enter in with us.
no, I don't, nobody does.
Yeah,
Okay, so, but
excuse me.
the point is though, that if you're hiring somebody even at $60,000 and it's a 30-hour week, yeah, you get, now that benefits eligible, that's a different but it's also a shared expense. You know, does that move up the number of candidates for us so we can eliminate this constant coming back problem?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
we have had a nurse. We have one currently, but she's leaving,
Mhm.
and that's why, and she's agreed to stay on until we got somebody. She's retiring, and she's been, yeah, again, pondering to come back. And she's wonderful, but she was the unicorn, and that's my fear, that we're just gonna keep running into not good candidates. And when these two that I had came across the desk, I was like, I want to jump on this, because if I don't, somebody else is gonna take
Understood.
it.
And again, I'm not even talking about the candidates.
Yeah.
I'm
No, I get
trying
the
to
whole
think of a
position.
bigger issue. So I'm just asking questions. Is there a way we can stop doing this? Is what it boils down to.
Well,
And what do you recommend? And I threw out ideas based on what little knowledge I have going to look. I don't know what Derek has to say, but
Yeah,
I'd be curious. Go ahead,
I
Derek.
am, yeah, I am curious. I know this position is, we were looking for an RN. Is that something that's required? Would we be comfortable with like an LPN instead? And I mean, that might also change the salary expectations.
Yeah, I think the problem, I personally wouldn't be. I have reservations, because with an LPN, they have some limitations as to what they can do. And so that also limits their previous experience. If they're not allowed to do X, Y, and Z, then they can never get that experience. And it's not likely that we'll find an LPN that has any public health experience. That's usually bachelor's level. And so I'm not a medical professional. I can't teach you public health nursing. So I need somebody that's already skilled in that. And I think that would be my only area I could see that could be problematic.
Yeah, and I totally get that. I'm just curious. I mean, I reviewed the description, and I'm just,
Oh, believe me, I tried. I looked at it. I'm looking for any out to get, to make this a viable position.
right. And I don't know what the limits. I do know that you are right that LPNs have those limits. I'm just curious, where we would run into that. But there is, the public health aspect, following up on issues, and I'm just trying to think. I'm just trying to do the same thing here, trying to think of solutions if so
Yeah, I
that
think it
this
comes
isn't a
down to.
reoccurring problem.
No, and I agree, and believe me, I've contemplated the whole LPN thing. I think a lot of it comes down to training and education, and their ability to educate, and that's not usually part of an LPN curriculum. It's more hands-on, basic patient care, some med distribution. I do know that like I said, I'm not a medical professional. I do know there's some limitations with what they can do medically. So that would be, like I said, that's my only concern with lowering the education requirement.
But there's nothing legally that we have to worry about in terms of the state.
Not that I'm aware of, and I did not, I should say, this was
It needs to be
already
researched.
well, and this was
If that's the
already in
question.
place prior to
Yeah.
me coming, and so my assumption is that when the nurses on my board put it together, then
They did the work.
oh God, yes.
Okay.
Yes, if you've met my board, they are very diligent and I literally, right now I have 2 nurses on my board. And when I first got here, there were, again, 2 nurses. One is a doctorate in nursing. So I'm pretty sure that they looked into all avenues when they developed this job description.
I mean, I think if, like I said, I think if one of the concerns is the salary or the hourly rate not being competitive for nurses, you guys could look at for fiscal 27, taking it out and putting it back in the hourly schedule.
We'll move it up a grade.
Yeah, but even that, I mean, again, it was.
Separate. It's not like what else are you gonna compare it to in the town?
No, but,
Don't we have school nurses? Is that?
no. The school nurses weren't part, but none of the schools,
And they don't really do the same
right, right.
thing that this nurse does.
What do you mean, what are we gonna compare it to?
Well, typically when you do when they did the study.
Yeah.
They looked at all the positions in the town. And when they started doing the grades, it was, based on responsibility,
Right.
based on
Right.
how many people they had, and that's where they kind of fit into the grades.
Yeah.
So the public health nurse, though, it's really the square peg in a round hole, trying to figure that one out, because what else in the town that's a grade 6 would be similar to a public health nurse?
Well, that's what I mean, it's in grade 6 now.
Right.
Grade 6, not 7, right, grade 6.
6.
And so the other positions are outreach coordinator, public safety dispatcher, which I think is pretty comparable. Program coordinator, which really don't you have anymore, right? Right.
Right.
So I think it's in the right grade. What I'm saying is,
What's in grade 7?
well, that's just it. So 7 is detective patrol, the librarians, wastewater and water treatment plant, assistant treasurer, a patrol officer. There's another librarian, but,
I mean, I think an argument could be made, specialized education for grade 7 is what's required for a public health nurse.
right.
I mean, I could easily
And
have that.
skills, I mean, I align them all with wastewater. You have biology, chemistry,
no,
all of that.
We're saying the same thing.
Yeah,
So all I'm saying, and I'm not saying that's what we're gonna do
no, I mean, it
This
doesn't
would be
matter. This is what
for
we're.
a discussion 27 when we had the full board. But
My thing about it, my recommendation would be, because it is not a regular benefits eligible position, it probably shouldn't be in the same.
yeah, we should move elsewhere.
Right, I think that's why.
I think we're
that's my-
saying the same thing.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
agree. But but the argument I'm trying to make is that the comparison for other positions in grade 6 versus grade 7, I lean it more to grade 7 than I do grade 6. And the fact that we have to keep revisiting it every 4 to 6 months tells me that there's an issue that we should address. And that's why I'm asking those questions. So
Yeah, no.
I didn't know how you were doing the hourly, but when I didn't, the math didn't work. And based on our previous discussions on certain positions, but now I understand it when you compare it to the union
Straight up
side,
hourly
right?
positions.
Yep. So I think what we ought to do is now let's move to the applicant, okay? And Joyce, again, I hope you appreciate the fact that what I'm really trying to do is eliminate, nice to see you, don't want to.
No, feelings are neutral. You guys are lovely, enjoyable people, but yeah,
But
this is not fun for me. And believe me, it's like a process. Like I spend a lot of time. I have to review all of the resumes. I have to go through everything.
time is money.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm one person in a department.
Right, and Derek, you get why I'm asking these questions. I mean, you weren't here for any of the previous ones, but I just figured, I appreciate you allowing me to. Some
Yeah,
latitude.
no, yeah, we've had 2 of these conversations about filling roles, and I completely understand the desire to limit them in the future. So,
And again, to me, it's, you either pay me now or pay me later.
Yeah.
And it being, I came out of the finance committee. I understand your position, and I appreciate your input on it, but on this one, I'm just trying to eliminate, this is a lot of work, not necessarily for you and I, but for them to get it here. And to redo the work constantly means something else isn't getting done.
right, exactly. And I think that there's a reasonable discussion that can be had about whether or not we're in a position where we're making the right financial decisions. And, sometimes it is necessary to increase salaries to attract the correct talent.
Right. So we're gonna move on to the applicant, and and then we'll just, between us, make a motion and go from there.
So what would you like me to?
I saw the resume.
Okay.
I saw your the listing on it. Is there anything in there that you want to add? Is there something we don't know? You know, that was my question, and I don't know, Derek, if you had any questions.
Sorry, on mute here. Yeah, I guess it looked like they had just, grabbed or reached a new level of educational attainment. So I just wanted to make sure that they were that this is someone that we feel comfortable is going to be here for a while. So, please look into the future and predict that for me, as well as the next lotto numbers.
Well, I'll have you know, I did have a direct and frank conversation about that with both candidates, and I was very honest. I'm like, look, I am looking for a long term. I understand that we can't, things can happen. I understand that, but I'm looking for somebody that is looking to settle. This person, like I said, lives locally, and if you looked at their resume, you can see that they've been where they're at for a very long time throughout their career, and they are looking to do this because there's so much flexibility in that other position that they kind of pick their own time slots. And so they're excited about having a new sort of piece of nursing outside of what they've been doing for a while. And so, again, live locally, have family. So she assured me that this is a long-term plan for her. She's, like I said, she's children, she's local, she has, ties to the community.
She's still going to keep the other job.
Yep, but she has already let her bosses know that, she was upfront with them about that she was looking, and she was going to have a discussion with her boss that we, I can't think of the word.
Verbally offered.
Yeah, we issued her a verbal offer upon, this department approving it. And so I told her, I said, I'm really good about scheduling. I like to schedule a month out so that people can make it's because it's a part-time job. It's much easier to give somebody a schedule a month out saying, hey, this is when you need to be in the office. She can go and schedule her other things around that. And she thought that was great. It gives her the opportunity to keep her feet in the place that she's currently at while she does this as well. So, and it's also from kind of an odd little twist. She also provides a wealth of knowledge of community base because of who she works for and outreach. And so she also already has a lot of really good built-in resources that might prove quite useful, not only for my department, but also, with COA attendees and being able to help people get access to things they might need access to.
I'm throw a hypothetical at you.
Sure.
We have another COVID.
You have what?
Another COVID.
Yeah.
We need her.
Yeah.
She coming?
My guess is yes, she would.
Okay.
And we also, like I said, have 2 nurses on the board.
Yep.
And
Yep.
the previous board member, Janet Wade, has stepped up and acts as a medical consultant for free for our department.
Mm-hmm.
And so I believe with the 3 people that are involved board-wise to mentor and guide this nurse, I think we have a stellar team.
Yep, you understand. I mean,
Oh, absolutely.
I just figured.
Nobody knows what's coming down.
No,
the pipe.
no, and honestly,
God, please not that.
no, I agree 100%. But I also, I'm comfortable, and Derek, I don't know how you feel, but I'm comfortable with this person working under these arrangements. Okay,
I'm as well.
Okay, I just wanted to hear that from you, so we were both on the same page. Okay.
Great.
Derek, you got any more questions?
Still waiting on those lotto numbers, but no.
Yeah, me too. When they come in.
And this person is, based on the conversations you've had, is amenable to doing this based on this rate?
Oh, yes.
She's in, okay.
Yes.
All right. Derek, you want to make a motion?
Yeah, I move that the wage and personnel board recommend favorable action on the new public health nurse at grade 6.
Step 7.
I'm sorry, step 7. Grade 6,
Yeah,
step
grade
7.
6, step 7. Okay. I'll second that. And Derek,
Yes.
Jim, yes. Okay, so go hire her. Let's get her on board.
Thank
So forth.
you.
But let's look at these other questions I asked, and when we have a full board, I'd like to possibly bring you back
I will
and-
come
and
and
also-
any request.
and ask some questions about some way systemically we can make it a little stronger.
Okay,
That's what I'm looking for.
all right.
And I think you agree with me.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
you know, this is not the first time we've seen it. I'm not, you know, I realize how important it is, and I'd like to just make sure that we have
Hopefully
somebody.
we won't
long-term.
see you again for a while.
I hope
unless
not.
it's under
But it's
your
always a
request.
pleasure to see you.
You as well. I'll call her for Sam.
But then it's on the HR site, if she doesn't.
Okay.
I can send it to you tomorrow,
All right,
and I'll put the officer together.
all right. Thank you very much.
All right,
everyone.
thank you.
Have a lovely evening.
You too. Let's see what else.
Yep.
You're trying to give Derek stuff. Wait a minute.
I'm looking, I moved some stuff over, so I apologize.
Okay,
This is what I wanted.
okay,
Sorry.
Derek.
Yep, sorry about that. Okay, the next item on the agenda, is update from Tina.
Okay. So I sent an email that the IT stipend position that Keith wanted to put through, he's not putting through at all, so that won't be anywhere on any agenda or meeting. And then we have a youth librarian posting that's out and hiring. And that's on the job site, the HR, no, on the Kingston website. We will have, so the admin, Board of Selectmen, HR, IT assistant, administrative assistant, Board of Selectmen, HR, IT, which is was reclassified to a grade 3 for fiscal year 26. That person resigned. They left last week, actually. And so we're working on that job description, you know, just tweaking it because some of the IT support things aren't necessarily happening. And that will get posted. There's been some concern about if we're going to be able to hire someone at that rate. Specifically, if there's going to be pushback on hiring above step 3. So Board of Selectmen's office and HR have been working to figure out how to approach that. And currently, to help us out in the interim, we have a clerical pool person, and that clerical pool falls under wage and personnel. This librarian I asked about or told about. The building commissioner that you guys reviewed, the Board of Selectmen approved the appointment at the step 3, but the candidate didn't want to move forward with that, so we're back to the drawing board with that. I do have a question in general, and it is really in general. So the town has always done it because it's part of our bylaw and our union contracts, but now there's a law in place in Massachusetts about when we post jobs, we have to put the hiring range. And so in our case, it's the 10 steps. The question I have is, if we think that there's going to be more of a trend to not hire above step 3, I should probably be putting that in the job descriptions or in the job postings. So we can talk about it tonight. Obviously, there doesn't have to be any like decision or anything further with that, but some of the feedback I've gotten from candidates, either from the building committee, building commissioner, or other postings, quite honestly, is, you know, when I tell them, it doesn't happen on the union side, but when I tell them, you know, if you have above the step 3, we have to wage and personnel, you know, they have said, well, if you're only going to pay this, you should put that in. Then I'm like, well, we're not going to only pay that. It, you know, it depends on the candidate, yada yada. But in interest of the law that's coming through. I think it goes, actually, I think it went into effect we're on the 20th, right? I think it goes into effect today. I just want to make sure that I'm following that law.
Sure.
And so I could put the steps in, have to do that, but I can put wording in. And we've done this for some of the other like junior level positions where we've said, it's, $50,000 to $80,000, but it, the expected hire will not be higher than XYZ. We tend to do that with, like the entry level librarians. Because then we know we can hire at a lower experience level for that. And so we're not getting with someone with the 25 years of experience because we don't need that percent. So again, conversation or just something to think about. But as I'm posting the different jobs, I didn't do it with the building commissioner repost. I'm not sure how the Board of Selectmen's office wants me to put it through for the admin.
Well, one of the things that I think we all have to be realistic about is that the further we get away from the compensation study, the further we're out of bounds from what the world is.
What way, tell me.
Meaning that what the average salaries are going up
Right.
since then. And if we're locked in at step 3, then the way I would look at it to have the discussion is someone show me some work that says, here's where step 3 is for these positions, and here's what the average pay is for these positions in this area. Okay, it might be time to get a new study. It might be time to raise from 3 to 5.
Yeah.
But that's, and honestly, if you didn't have to visit the public health nurse 4 times, it would give you the ability to do it. So that's the reason why I'm asking the questions. There's no set, we're not going to hire above a step 3. Okay, I mean, I'm speaking for myself. I'm going to let Derek speak for himself. But there's nothing that I am not set on saying that. And I think honestly, in my votes in the past, and I stand by every one of them, where I've seen the fact that I believe it needs more, I state the reasons why. If I believe it doesn't, I state my reasons why. I really try hard not to look at it from a financial standpoint because that's really not our purview. The one thing that I haven't seen, and this is not a criticism, it's just an observation, is I really haven't seen a lot of reduction in some of the positions based on that was one of the things we talked about during the compensation study, was with the idea that we'd be able to reduce some positions by moving up some grade levels, putting people into other positions. But the further we get away from that, the less likely that's going to happen, because you're going to be under more constant pressure from what the average salary is in other towns.
So help me or remind me about the reduction.
Well, I remember when we did this whole study, and if you remember, we just got it left here. And we had to deal with it. And I remember asking Keith, and I remember him pausing for a moment, staring up and saying to me, I think there might be some reductions in positions. We've seen a couple. I'm not arguing that. And I'm not saying there should, I don't know what the magic number is. Okay. But the, efficiencies and again, as the town is under pressures and let's talk about it, it's out there. There has to be some discussion on how do we, because 80% of the budget is the workforce. How do we realign to meet expectations, and do we meet every one of them? I don't know. That's not my world.
We've had that discussion.
I'm sure you have.
No, because it's.
So, but I'm not saying that's, it's just part of the whole thought process. But no, there's nothing in my world that says I don't go above a step 3. Okay, so I'm the one that actually pushed you guys to step 3, if you remember.
Which job?
To make you go to step 3 before you had to come to us less than step 3. I was the one that fought for that because I wanted to give you more tools to be able to hire out in the market. It may be a time to do that again. And if we're going to, not spend $100,000 to do another compensation study, it might be just as easy to tweak it. But show me it.
Right.
come to us and the selectmen and say, here's where our step threes fall, and this is what the jobs pay in this area. And it could be one of the reasons why we're struggling. We're proposing that we go to step 4 or we go to step 5. So that we have some flexibility and it shortens the amount of time it takes the applicant to say yes.
Right.
Okay, I'm not against that.
Right, and I mean, I remember saying this because I said it to anyone I had to talk to about the compensation studies. So, right, so typically compensation studies, they're good for about 3 years, right?
Right.
And then you either adjust for market, which we do on a COLA basis, but
Yes.
then we have to figure out like, did the whole market change, which doesn't necessarily mean a whole new compensation study, right? It just means let's look at our comparable towns and see what we're at compared to them. So it could be that it's time to do that. Typically, you do that 3 to 5 years after a big compensation study. I mean, I've come from employers where we've done it every year.
Mhm.
We don't always make changes because you have to follow a trend, figure out if the trend is there or not. But yeah, I do think that is something we should probably be doing. My concern, like I've done with any compensation study, is if the data comes back to say, yeah, you're falling behind, we need to pay XYZ, and the town isn't willing to do that, then we've set ourselves up to say, hey, current employees, you're not getting paid what you're supposed to, and they're gonna.
No, but I also think though that now you've set a decision point on the table, and that is, do we keep all the positions that we want because we have to provide these services, or powers, not us, make the decision that we do away with this service so that we can, and those might be the hard questions. That's not for this board.
No,
Okay.
Yeah.
Our board is to bring it forward to say, look, we foresee a problem.
Mhm.
And here's what the problem is. Here's a few proposed ideas. What do you guys think? And I think that's our job. So, but going back to your initial question, there is nothing and Derek can speak for himself, but there's nothing in my world that says I won't hire above a step 3. Okay, if you received it that way, I apologize.
It's not me.
Okay.
I'm getting feedback from people.
And that is not what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Okay, and again, I think if someone honestly looked at my votes and looked at what I've done, that criticism wouldn't be there.
Yeah, I think people were surprised with the last one and the situation that happened with the vets agents, the one vets agent, but it happened twice. So I think, so when I have department heads or others come to me to say, are we gonna be able to get anyone that has any experience with any of these lower salaries? And I said, well, we have to see what we can get to begin with and see what needs to happen.
But
I have jobs that are posted that I'm getting no one. I mean, even the public health nurse, I mean, we got some good candidates this time, but you guys know in the past we haven't, or even the numbers of it, right? To be able to be like, oh, we have at least 2 out of the 20, we're not even getting 2 to look at. So I just want to make sure that the town is being set up to hire quality people. And I'm not saying every position needs someone with 10+ years. I just to have to keep, well, I shouldn't say to have to, if we're gonna keep having to go back to certain positions because we either can't find the people at a dollar price or we're getting people that are lower than what we actually need and they're not gonna be successful in the position, then to your point about the public health nurse, we're just gonna keep doing this. I mean,
right, and honestly, that's why I brought up the whole issue of systemic problems,
Right.
not
Yeah.
applicant problems.
Yeah.
Systemic problems.
Right.
Something's wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, if you're coming to us 4 times in less than a year and a half to talk about the public health nurse,
Yeah.
it's simple.
Yep.
Okay, and what's wrong? We pay too little.
Mhm.
What's the average? It's $4. It's $6 higher than what
Right.
you guys are paying this person.
Right.
You're getting lucky.
Sure.
Okay, and where does $6 fall in the grade? About 9.
Mhm.
Okay,
Mhm.
well, that then tells me the systemic problem is
Agreed.
maybe it's in the wrong grade.
Right. Or not in grade at all, as we
Right.
talked about, but yeah.
So that's the reason why I'm not trying to throw a monkey wrench in it. I'm trying to come up with I think we're getting to the outer limits of the quality of the compensation study. That's my opinion. Okay, based on all the way things are coming. Okay.
Yeah.
And I think that needs to be tightened up. You know, if you cast a bigger net, you'll get more fish. That's the idea behind this. So but I need some data. That's what I'm basically
No, I
saying.
think, yeah,
So-
I get the data piece.
Derek, I'm off my soapbox, so please give me a comment.
I mean, I definitely understand where Tina's coming from. I guess my only concern with putting in language like that is, you know, I'm thinking of like the unicorn candidate who we actually end up paying, you know, step 7. And then we open ourselves for a situation where that's public and someone goes, well, you said on your posting you didn't do this, and then, you know, so that's something I would like to have like town council or someone look at if that is the
Well,
route that we go. But I also think
right.
it's probably something that the broader board should, when all of us are there to go further on.
Yeah, and I guess so to meet the law, you know, posting the 10 steps is what we need to do. Like we've
Yeah,
been doing that, so check that box, we're
Right.
good. What I'm getting as feedback is, if you know you're only going to hire to a certain ballpark, that's what you should put in the posting, because then applicants that want more than that won't even apply, which just kind of saves everyone time. But I am fine with, and I am fine with this. I am fine with not putting, you know, for all positions, you know, expected hiring is going to be blah, blah, blah. Like I said, I think there's certain positions where we don't have to pay for experience because they can grow in the job. And there's certain positions that we don't, and we need someone that can just hit the ground running. So I'm not saying, should I be doing that or should I not be doing that? I just want to make sure that we're getting the applicants, so we're not spinning our wheels with people like, step 10 is $100,000 and I have 40 years of experience. Why am I not being offered that? You know, so that's it. That's it.
Okay, and again, Derek, you know, I stated my position in terms of it's a case by case basis with me. And I would assume it's the same with you.
Oh, absolutely. I think that
Yeah.
based upon the quality of the candidate, then, and also I would say the need that we have for the candidate, the need that we have for the role
Right.
would
Agreed.
heavily determine that.
Right. And I think honestly, we ought to have this discussion as a full board. You know, I'm not saying next month, but maybe the month after that, if we could pull some data together to look at it, gives you time. It might be worth putting it on the agenda to have a discussion.
Yeah.
I'm not against it. As I said, I honestly feel the farther out we get from that compensation study, the less effective it is. And
you know, COLA wise, we've actually been trending, up until this year, we were trending a little higher
Mhm.
than our comparables. So, you know, for companies that don't apply COLAs, they tend to fall behind. I think on the black and white, this is what it started as FY24, and because we did the COLAs, we're here, and it should be looking really good compared to everyone else. We're probably okay, but we do need to still do the collection of that to make sure we.
Well, and also the other side of it too is the benefit side.
Yeah.
You know, we've reduced benefits over the time we've been in this compensation study, and it's the whole package that
Absolutely.
people look at. And
Yeah.
so if all of a sudden we started the compensation package at 70%
Mhm.
of medical, and we're
Yeah.
now down to 50% of medical, well, that 20% comes, I don't care how good your COLA is. Okay, and then whatever the market does to it. So, no, I think this is,
Total compensation.
right, we have to have this discussion, and I believe it's, like I said, our job to come before the other boards with some questions, some ideas.
Yeah.
And you guys need to make some decisions.
Just to be clear though,
Mhm.
our ratio hasn't changed for our benefits, our plan options.
Correct.
Went down and went.
But at the end of the day, it's dollars.
That's my point.
Right. Dollars are the problem.
No,
So,
I agree. That's
yeah.
why, you know, I don't want people to think we went from 70% to now.
No, that's how, I'm just using that as an example.
Actually, someone brought that up just the other
Yeah,
day.
it's-
because
it's-
we were
but-
talking about comparables and, you know, it's not really down the street, but the town down the street, it's a 80-20,
Mhm.
but maybe their plan is.
80 of what?
well, right. but
Right,
maybe
80
the
of
plan
what?
isn't as
Right,
good,
exactly. You know, I agree. And when you explain the salary, how you did it, I could see the apples
Yeah.
compared to the apples instead of the apples to the oranges. So I understand that. But it's not a simple
No,
idea. I'm not saying that it is. So I hope I made myself clear as far as what, my position is. I think it's important that, we put this, we'll talk about it on the agenda, but I'd like to see it come up as a future topic within, say, the next couple of months.
mhm.
Not that I'm saying that we have something for town meeting, but it'd be great if we did.
Well, we're going into negotiations too, so
Yeah.
we might have to.
That's exactly right.
You know, and then the only other thing I have, and we talked about it, related to hourly rates. So I would like, and we really just have to take it from KTU, is, so we talked about this before. So that Schedule D says salaried positions or salaried something, right? And we've talked about it before because those positions in those 15 grades that are not salaried, the admin that we have to hunt for.
Salary schedule.
And isn't one, right? And so, when I drill down to say, well, this is the hourly rate of what that's going to be, there's concern with that because if you're working 35 hours, like again, on paper, it looks like, oh, I can make 80,000, but really you're only gonna make 70 because you're not working 40 hours a week, right? So I would think that we would need to put in the bylaw, these are the salaried salaries for the exempt positions or exempt salaries, something like that. And then those same dollars, just like we have for KTU, are now divided out by 40 hours, and that's the hourly rate with the wording of multiply it by your normal,
In the event that these grades and steps are used to apply an hourly rate, the dollars used will be divided by 40 hours. per
Well,
week.
I think there needs to be a whole schedule that has.
We can do it that way too.
Because, and for us.
So
for-
we have to create a schedule.
Yeah, I think
Mhm.
for wage and personnel, I think maybe the first 5. There's a certain, like, the first few grades, you don't even have positions in them anyway, so I think we can just make it clearer to say, these are the grades, this is the hourly rate. To figure out your annual rate, because it's not salary, your annual rate, take how many hours you're scheduled to work and multiply by this dollar amount.
It'd be a lot
Yeah.
simpler with an hourly schedule.
Right.
Yeah, a lot simpler. Okay.
So are you thinking about keeping the salaried schedule for exempt employees?
Yes, I
Correct.
think it needs to say exempt.
Yep, salary
annual
exempt.
Salary.
Right.
And then a
So
bar under
instead of
that,
salary, it'd be exempt?
I would say exempt, yeah. So,
Exempt schedule or exempt,
I would say exempt annual salary.
exempt in.
Right. And so, just to show you guys, and I can show you what it might be, Derek. Or you hold up the screen.
Hold it right up to the screen, just right in. No, it's fine.
So like, this is how I figure out compensation, right? So this is us, or I shouldn't say us, this is wage and personnel.
Right.
This is what KTU has in their
Right.
contract, and these equal at the 40 hours a week.
Understood.
Yeah,
So,
That's okay.
you gonna show it to Derek? You want me to?
I'll
It's
email it to
fine,
you.
Tina. It's fine.
Can you email it to me too? Okay.
Okay.
This is why this is my full compensation red folder, and that's why I'm like, oh, I gotta fold this so I don't see that here anymore.
Understood.
But-
All right. So, the creation of a Schedule E. is
Oh,
what-
Schedule E, yes.
That's what we're talking about. So, the future business.
So,
I
yeah,
can put that on our list,
there you
Yes.
go.
right?
Yes.
Yeah,
the
very
bylaw
good.
list. Mhm.
Where's my list? Oh, here it is.
Okay.
That's
That it?
that's it for my.
Thank you, Tina. Derek, any questions?
Nope, nothing for me.
Thank you.
One update though, for me, I don't know if now's the time to tell you guys, but I'm expecting baby number 2 on November 14th. So
That's my son's birthday. Be
I will
careful.
I will keep you apprised as to I imagine meeting attendance will continue to be virtual for me, but I'll let you guys know. But just wanted to
Right.
send
Yep.
that out.
All right, good. Congratulations. That's great. All right, yeah, because the next meeting is November 17th. Do we want to discuss the bylaw amendment requests? I'd rather do that in a full board.
And
Do you
yeah,
want to just look at the list and see if there's anything I forgot? Just,
I did look at it.
yeah,
just
I haven't had
the list,
the chance
not-
to look at that, but I do want to
Oh,
send
okay,
you
that's fine.
what I have
Can
as
we-
well at some point.
Yeah.
So I'll try to get
Yeah,
that to you next week.
So I am expecting, these will not, likely not be funded for fiscal 27, but they need to be ready to go. Assistant library director. And assistant town accountant. And then I will look at this further, but, some of the things I won't be able to get to. So.
Now-
For FY 27.
Now, those last two, do you want those to go on the list, my list, or?
Yeah, I mean, I
Okay.
talked to the department heads
Mhm.
and I'm not sure if they're gonna try to put them into their budgets for fiscal 27, but, they wanna be ready for it to go if it can get funded
Okay,
in any of the upcoming years. So yeah. And just, in general, there are some departments that are looking to add even, ATU positions. So again, not that you guys are involved in that at all, but it's those level positions, we obviously know about, police, so. Which has nothing to do for you guys either. Unless they are, like we have, waging personnel has like the matrons and the,
Mhm.
yeah, right. But those are already existing. And then what else did I have? What else did I have? I saw that you have the town clerk.
Mhm.
So I'm pretty sure deleting the position for the admin veterans is going to happen.
Mhm.
And I have to check back on my emails because I reached out to labor right before it was out last week. And I think the vets agent is going to move to a contract. I think it should still stay in as vets agent in wage and personnel. I think the contract will have a veteran director or something like that. Because it makes sense to, like we talked about before, it makes sense. That's probably more of a contract position than not. And then,
Especially under this new arrangement.
right,
Right.
right. And I didn't write this down.
Well, by keeping the veterans agent in the bylaw, by the way,
Yeah.
I think we actually meet the mass requirement of having a veterans agent.
Right.
If we take it off the bylaw,
Yeah.
I think we could run into some issues.
Well, I don't know if we need the title of veterans agent, if we have someone doing that job.
I understand
Right,
that, but
right.
safer,
Yeah,
better
sure.
than not.
Yeah.
I mean, if
Even when
there
I-
was ever an argument to keep a position, that's the one that I would make.
Even when I spoke to Sarah about it, I was like, I think we should I think we should keep the vets agent in the bylaw just in case. She was like, absolutely, we should.
Mhm. And I think so, just in
Just
my
in
head,
case,
to meet
yeah.
the mass requirements.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else on this? Because I really would like to put it on.
Yeah,
the
absolutely. Let's just, yeah, because
Next month's agenda, prepare to discuss, because whatever we have to do, we're gonna have run out of time.
okay.
I know it's coming. Anything else, Tina?
No.
Okay,
Well, you wanted me to keep that topic on every agenda, but you want.
right, but I want to put it on as an action. I want to put it on the agenda to discuss,
the list?
at the next meeting. If we can have a full board.
Well, I have discussed bylaw amendment request. So
Okay,
how would
keep
you-
it on there,
Yeah, I was gonna keep it on there
please. do.
forever.
Yeah, please, keep it on there. But I guess what I'm saying to Derek and if
Okay,
Lorraine
Derek.
watches this, be prepared.
Be prepared to go over the list.
Right.
Okay, the list. the
So
list.
noted.
So-
I will do a new version of the list and change the date.
Okay, did you have a chance, Derek, to look at the meeting minutes from September 15th?
I glanced at them. I did not have a chance to review them super thoroughly. If you want to wait, we can. If not, I'm willing to
We can
approve.
wait till the next meeting. I don't have a
Okay.
problem with that.
All right, let's
All
go
right.
ahead and wait then. Appreciate that.
Yeah,
My husband said they were dense.
waiting room, Gail.
Okay, I wonder.
Okay.
Oh, I'm like, what is that?
That's, it's a famous 339 numbers. It's, you know, the usual. So Derek, the next meeting is on the calendar for the 17th. Is based on what you have coming up. Do we want to move it ahead? Do you want to move it back?
If we move it ahead a week, I'll be able to attend it, no problem.
Okay,
If it's on the 17th, there's a high likelihood that the Easton will still be hanging out in a hospital. So that does make that slightly easier to, although I'll actually be out of state then. So but if we move it up a week, that's not a problem.
you wouldn't have a problem with the 10th?
No, I would not have a problem with the 10th.
Okay, how about you?
Well, here's the reason.
Yeah, go
why,
ahead. You got
because-
Veterans Day is the next day.
Yeah.
Right,
Veterans Day the next day, and I may be off.
right.
I'm not really sure, given that I've had to take time off, so, but it doesn't matter if it's a night meeting, I guess.
You sure? I mean, we can do we've got a little flexibility that week.
Can we do the 12th?
Derek, can you do the 12th?
Yeah, I can do the 12th. That's Wednesday night.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
now
I can do that.
you just have to see if we have a space.
Let me see if I can do the 12th.
Okay,
My
check.
days are usually bad.
Okay, sorry.
But let me check.
All
Let me
right.
check. I just have to,
If it has to be the 10th, that's fine. I was planning on going away, but with everything happening, I'm like, I don't think I can.
no, the
Time off.
12th would be bad. What about the 13th?
Well, that's the day before his baby's gonna get born.
We're moving in the wrong
And I only know that
direction.
because it's my son's birthday. What, you know what, let's just keep the 10th, completely fine. Completely fine.
You sure?
Yeah.
All right, I mean, you know, it's totally up to you. All right. Derek, right now, we're gonna have it on the 10th at this point.
All right, works for me.
Okay,
Well,
great.
would you want to do it
Well,
the week before?
you don't have a lot of time. We're already October the 20th now. Then you got town meeting.
All right.
So, I'm not against it, but, you know, it just moves it up quick.
It's fine. It's fine.
All right, we'll just leave it at the 10th, ask Lorraine,
Hmm.
and then we'll go from there.
All right.
All right? Last is, topics not reasonably anticipated to be discussed 48 hours in advance. I see we have someone that just joined our meeting. I don't know if this is a good time to put that, if that person has any questions, Gail, you know, I'd certainly take that now. If you want to speak to us about anything.
No, I'm good. I just like to check in every once in a while. Hi, Tina.
Oh,
Bye.
okay, no problem. I just wanted to make sure. All right,
Thank you.
thank you. Anything else, Derek, for the good of the group?
Nothing further from me.
Tina? You?
No?
Okay, just want to make sure. Okay, all right, Derek, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved?
Okay, I'll second it. Derek,
7:10.
Yes.
Jim, yes. Thank you, everybody.